Welcome to ABC Interactive English. Hello, everyone. I am Karen.
Hello, everybody. I am Shane.
Today, we are looking at part 3 of our story called The Daisy. And we learned that this special, beautiful flower, the daisy, has a friend.
Yes.
That is the lark, the beautiful brown bird that has a beautiful singing voice. But unfortunately, the bird, the lark, was locked up by 2 boys. But the daisy was also in the cage with the lark.
I don't like where this story is going. You know, I have a kind of a sad story about a daisy.
A sad story about a daisy?
About Daisy, yeah. So one day I picked a daisy for a girl.
So this is when you were young.
I was only about 9 years old.
9?
Yes.
Okay.
So I picked this flower because I had a crush on her. And of course I hoped she would like me. So I picked this wild daisy. And then I gave it to her.
Aww.
Right? And I thought, yes, you know, she's going to be very happy. And she said, oh, she said. Like she wasn't very excited about it. And I remember I felt, kind of sad. And then later that day, I saw the daisy on the ground and somebody had stepped on it and it was just dead, sitting there.
So she maybe she lost it.
It's possible, but she didn't take good care of it. And you know why I gave her a daisy?
Why did you give her a daisy? Because the daisy was beautiful?
Well, that is for sure, and she was beautiful, but guess what her name was?
What?
Guess. Daisy.
Her name was Daisy.
So I gave her a daisy. I felt, and then she broke my heart.
Aww. That's okay, but that is a really, really cute story, though.
Not cute. Well, hopefully this story has a happier ending. So let's find out.
Nobody came to give the lark water, so he sang his final song and passed away that evening. That broke the daisy's heart, and her head hung low.
Okay, so this is part 3, the finale of The Daisy.
That's right.
This is where we're going to find out what happens to the daisy and the daisy's friend, the lark.
That's right.
I really hope that this is a happy ending.
Me too. I don't like sad endings.
Neither do I.
Okay, so
Cross our fingers.
Okay, so let's start. Nobody came to give the lark water. So he sang his final song and passed away that evening.
What? No.
Oh, no. So nobody came to give him water, and then he sang his final song and passed away. So sang his final song. Final, that is an adjective. It just means being or happening at the end of a series of events, actions, statements. So for example, Terrence passed his final exam. So usually towards the end of the semester, you would have your final exam. But in the middle of the semester, you would usually have your midterm exam. So final is like the last one.
Yeah, you can kind of think of final as last one. So to pass away means to die. There's no easy way to say it. It just means to die. So we will say somebody or something, like a bird, passed away. It sounds much nicer than saying
somebody died. That's right.
Yeah, my friend died. It sounds it doesn't sound nice to your ears.
That's
it's unpleasant. And it just doesn't sound okay. So you could also say pass on. So my grandfather passed on.
That's right.
What else could you say?
You could also say, my grandpa has gone to a better place.
Oh, that's right. What if you say, my grandfather kicked the bucket?
Well, that doesn't exactly sound very, very nice.
But it does mean to die, right?
Yes, that's right. So it's more like a slang, right?
Yeah,
so not a
slang.
very formal way of saying that.
Yeah, and it's just not very polite. Maybe you would use that if you were using a story and trying to be funny or something.
Right.
But if it's really somebody who's grieving because somebody has passed away, you would never say that. That's rude.
Exactly.
Okay, let's continue. That broke the daisy's heart, and her head hung low.
Aww. And we all know that the daisy cared a lot about the lark, right?
Of course, yeah.
So now her head hung low. So to hang, that is a verb. It means to bend or let something bend downwards. Especially when you're feeling upset or sad. So for example, you could say the dog's tongue hung out of its mouth because it was thirsty. And low, what does that mean?
Okay, so low is an adverb, and we know that low as an adjective means not high, right? Maybe like close to the ground. As an adverb, it just means in a low position. So for example, you could say the airplane flew low over the ocean.
Ah, that means probably it was very close to the ocean.
Exactly. Not very high.
That's right. It is so sad. I can't believe the lark passed away.
The stupid boys. They captured, locked up, and killed this wonderful, beautiful lark.
And they didn't give the lark any water, right? How can you survive without any water or food?
Terrible, terrible, terrible.
Okay, how about let's take a quick break.
So I can cry?
And yes, we'll just take a moment to be sad, and we'll come back and find out what happens in the end.
Okay.
The boys came the next morning. When they found the lark dead, they were in tears. They put him in a pretty box, dug him a nice grave, and gave him a fancy funeral. After that, they threw out the daisy. They had no idea that she felt the deepest for the lark. They also didn't know how hard she tried to help him.
Welcome back, everyone. So, Shane, can you remind us of what happened in the story before the break?
I don't really want to. I don't want to remember what happened. But I will tell you. The lark didn't get any water. Nobody gave him water. And he passed away.
No.
Yeah, and of course, the daisy loved that lark. They were like great friends. And she hung her head low. And of course, she was sad.
That's right.
So sad.
Okay, well, let's find out what happens next. The boys came the next morning.
Stupid boys.
When they found the lark dead, they were in tears. They were in tears? So that means they were also very sad.
To be in tears, what does that mean?
That means tears are coming out of your eyes, meaning they are crying, right?
So they could say they were crying, right? They were in tears. Okay.
Yeah, so that means they cared about the lark.
Okay, so I guess these boys, you know, they just thought, what a beautiful lark. Let's put him in the cage and we'll put a flower and some grass and it'll make it look very pretty. But so they didn't have any bad feeling like, let's put this bird in a cage. They just thought, what a beautiful bird, right? So in fact, they were sad that the lark died.
So maybe they really didn't know how to take care of the lark, right?
They're just young boys. They just were irresponsible and ignorant.
That's right.
Okay, so they put him in a pretty box, dug him a nice grave, and gave him a fancy funeral.
Aww, so I guess they did care about the lark, right?
Yeah, so they dug him a grave.
That's right. So dug is the past tense for the word dig.
Okay.
And that is a verb. So to dig, that just means to make a hole in the ground.
Okay.
For example, he was digging a hole when it began to rain.
Okay, so they dug a grave. So a grave is a place in the ground where a dead person is buried.
That's right.
So we bury. That means we put somebody in the ground and then put the dirt back over them, right? And then they're inside the ground. So
that's right.
For example, you could say, we went to visit my grandfather's grave.
Usually you would do that after people passed away. If you miss them or on special occasions, you would go and visit their grave and just to talk to them.
And sometimes you bring flowers to there, right?
That's
You could bring a daisy.
That's right. And we're also looking at this word here, funeral, and that is a noun. So a funeral, that is a ceremony, often a religious one, for burying or cremating. That means to burn the body of a dead person. So for example, during the funeral, many people cried. So I think during the funeral, a lot of people sometimes would also share their personal stories with the person that has passed away.
Right, it's kind of like the time to remember and honor a person's life. And a lot of people have a kind of religion. They believe what's going to happen after we die. So they will have some traditions that they will do during a funeral.
And usually people are dressed in black.
Oftentimes people dress in black. In the West.
That's right. But in Taiwan, I think they have different traditions.
There's different traditions,
Yeah. Okay, let's continue with the story. After that, they threw out the daisy because we know that the daisy was still in the cage, right? So after the lark had passed away, now the daisy was thrown out.
It's so sad.
That's right.
They had no idea that she felt the deepest for the lark.
Which means that she had a lot of feelings for the lark.
Yeah,
right?
Very deep feelings, very strong feelings. They also didn't know how hard she tried to help him.
That's right, because this is a special daisy. She has feelings, she can see, she can hear, and of course, she wanted to help her friend.
But there was nothing she could do. Unfortunately, she can't talk, she can't move. She just sees and hears what's happening. Unfortunately, she couldn't ever offer any help to her friend, the lark.
She felt helpless, right?
Oh, well, this is not the way I wanted this story to end.
It's certainly not a happy ending.
It's not a happy ending. I don't know what to think now.
Well, you know, I do believe that if you want to have a pet bird or you want to take care of some animals like these two boys, what we can do is to educate ourselves.
And be responsible.
Yes, you can learn how to take care of these animals because I'm sure they didn't want to kill the lark.
Yeah, they just thought it was cute, you know, and you can't just keep an animal because it's just cute. You have to care for it.
And you have to learn how to care for it, right?
Well, that's the end of our story of the daisy.
That's right.
Hopefully, even though it was a sad ending, hopefully you thought this was an interesting story. And hopefully you learned something.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nobody came to give the lark water, so he sang his final song and passed away that evening. That broke the daisy's heart, and her head hung low. The boys came the next morning. When they found the lark dead, they were in tears. They put him in a pretty box, dug him a nice grave, and gave him a fancy funeral. After that, they threw out the daisy. They had no idea that she felt the deepest for the lark. They also didn't know how hard she tried to help him.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 final 形容词，最后的、最终的。In a game, the last level is the final challenge. 在游戏中，最后一关是最终挑战。Challenge 指的是挑战。下一个单字 hang 动词，弯下、垂下。它的三态是 hang, hung. The branches of the tree hang low with fruit. 树上的树枝因挂满果实而垂了下来。下一个单字 low 副词，低，向下的。The plane flew low over the mountains. 飞机低空飞越山脉。最后一个单字 dig 动词，挖掘。它的三态是 dig, dug, dug.My dog dug a hole in the backyard. 我的狗在后院挖了一个洞。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 pass away 去世、逝世，这是一个不可以分开的动词片语，它是 die 的委婉说法。我们来看看这个例句。Sadly, my grandfather passed away last night. 很不幸，我爷爷昨晚去世了。下一个文法 in tears哭泣，这个片语中的 tear 指的是眼泪、泪珠，横用复数哦。我们来看看这个例句。When Laura heard the sad news, she was in tears. 当 Laura 听到悲伤的消息时，她哭了。最后一个文法 Somebody has no idea that 加主词加动词，某人不知道什么事情。Have no idea 是一个固定用法，指的是不知情、不了解。我们来看看这个例句。Teresa has no idea that her friends are planning a surprise party for her. Teresa 不知道她的朋友正在为她策划一场惊喜派对。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，回去记得复习哦。我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today, we're taking a look at Taitung Seashore Park. Now, this park is located on the coast of Taitung. So why don't we call it Taitung Coast Park? Well, you could say Taitung Coastal Park. A coast is the same as a seashore. And you could also, in fact, say shoreline or coastline. All this means is it's just where the water meets the land. Well, let's get into today's lesson. Taitung Seashore Park is one of the best places to visit on Taitung's coast. There, visitors can see some amazing art too. For example, the Shangyang tree is the center point of the park. The roof there is actually made of wood. The wave pattern on the roof represents the flow of the ocean and the mountains. That's pretty cool. Every night at 8 and 9 p.m., there is a music and light show. How much fun is that? So make sure to stop and take a picture at one of the most popular photo spots here. You can visit Taitung Seashore Park anytime. It's open all year round. Sounds like this is the perfect place to take some great pictures and selfies. Also, they have a music and light show at night. It can't get any better than that, so you can enjoy the whole day there. See you next time.